What's up guys, Nando here, back with one more video, and I appreciate you guys for stopping by the channel. If you're new, please consider subscribing, as I like to do these reviews a little bit differently than your typical YouTuber. If you're new to my channel, what I like to do are make series of videos regarding the product I'm reviewing. If it's a smartphone like we have in front of me here today, I like to discuss a battery life. I like to discuss things that stand out and you should consider. And ultimately, I like to do a final review with likes and dislikes because nothing's perfect. So if you haven't subscribed, do consider doing so. It's free and you don't have to watch every video, but it helps me out. And hopefully throughout the video, you enjoy something. And if you do, give it a thumbs up. Now in front of me here today, we've got this box. This box has a 5 on it. If you don't know what that is, that's for the OnePlus 5. If you have heard of OnePlus, bam, you already know that the OnePlus 5 has caused some conversation, some stir, some controversy because of pricing and because of the look of the phone. Honestly, a lot of people say that the OnePlus 5 kind of looks like a 7 Plus. And you know what? It is what it is. It's not the first time that one phone has looked similar to the other. It doesn't bug me. It doesn't bother me. I'm all for, hey, if you can take what somebody else does and make it a little better, great. If you have to completely innovate, fantastic. It is what it is. As long as you're not straight up copy somebody, give us what your best bet is and let us figure out if we enjoy it or not. So the OnePlus 5 came out probably 2.5, 3 months ago. And if you don't know anything about OnePlus, they are so-called the flagship killer. So when they first came out, they dropped a phone that was pretty cheap compared to flagships out there, and it gave you the majority of what most flagships offer for much, much less of a cost. So the OnePlus 5 doesn't necessarily do that because it's almost $500. And when you're talking about almost $500, you have other phones out there, flagships that we know from years of watching reviews and actually owning that, you know, for $600, $650, $700, maybe it is worth spending that additional money. So this video is going to talk about some things that you should consider and battery life on the OnePlus 5. I will be doing another video that, you know, encompasses everything I like and everything I dislike about this phone. That'll be the final review. But for this video, I wanted to touch first and foremost on battery life, and then, like I said, on some things that you should consider. So let me start off by saying this. If you're considering getting this phone, do consider if the price of this phone, if you're buying it new, is worth what you're getting compared to a flagship like a Galaxy S8 or an LG G6 or HTC U11, or at this point, even a Note 8 or an iPhone 8. You know, is it worth it to you? And secondly, what in particular do you value most? Because if you value something like battery life, if you value something like fast charging, if you value something like a great camera, if you value something like a big phone that doesn't cost a lot of money, if you value software experience, those are things that OnePlus do very, very well with the OnePlus 5. You know, this phone right here is fantastic software experience, and it is fantastic battery life experience. I'm going to go ahead and pull up some screenshots here for you guys of battery life on this phone, and hopefully you guys can see that well. Here's an example of what you can expect with this phone. I took a screenshot here when this phone had used about 48% of its battery life, and it already had over 4 hours and 9 minutes of screen on time. That's basically what it looks like. If this phone is not in use, it sips battery. It's not as good as a phone like LG G6 when it comes to standby, but it's pretty close enough. Here's another day. 94% used, over 18 hours the phone was on, 7 hours and 22 minutes of screen on time. Here's another example of another day. 98% the phone had been used. That was almost a day, 23 hours, and the phone again on for over 7 hours. Over 7 hours of screen on time. 92% phone was used over a day. In 1 hour, the phone was on. In this case, phone was on for a much longer time and still 5 hours of screen on time. I'm going to scroll through another one here so you guys can see that 7 hours plus is easily attainable for this phone. In other words, you will be fine going to work and after work and enjoying a phone that's going to have plenty of battery life left. Here, 99% used, 6 hours and 13 minutes. So I'm not going to go through every single screenshot of the battery life that I encountered with this phone, but you get the picture. In my opinion, you can easily expect over 15 hours of battery life with over 7 hours of screen on time. And if that's not enough, guys, my favorite feature about this phone, honest to God, my favorite feature about this phone is how fast it charges. When OnePlus talks about dash charging, they're not kidding. Dash charging on this phone is something that every single phone maker out there should implement. Call it what you want, call it dash charging, call it sprint charging, call it, supercharged to the moon and back charging, whatever you want to call it. The fact is, make it fast, make it like OnePlus, because there's something to be said about being able to wake up with your phone having very, very low battery life and just taking a quick 10-minute shower, and by the time you're out of the shower and shaving or whatever it is that you do, your phone has gone up like 20-something%. And then you can get to work and do another 10-minute burst and boom, it's up to almost 50%. And that's fantastic, because with a phone like that and the fact that this phone charges that fast and lasts that long, you never really have to charge your phone up to 100% again. You don't. Because you can keep giving it 10-15 minute just dash charges throughout the day and you're fine. So the days of having to plug in a phone for an hour and a half to 2 hours to 3 hours and waiting for it to charge are over with the OnePlus 5. That is fantastic. I can't not stress that enough. Another thing that you guys need to consider if this phone is something that you're eyeing is the fact that, honestly, yeah, $479 isn't a bad price. It's still on the cheaper end, and what you're going to get is a fantastic software experience. When I say fantastic software experience, I mean basically stock Android. I mean, I absolutely love stock Android, but what I love more than stock Android is a stock Android experience with useful features. Taking 3 fingers and dragging across your screen for a screenshot is lovely. Doesn't lag, always works. Is fantastic, and I got to give it to OnePlus. When they've added features, they've added functionality to a touch, I shouldn't say touch, to a stock Android experience that most people are going to use and most people are going to enjoy. They don't bloat the phone, they don't slow down the phone, they enhance the phone. And honestly, if you don't like anything that OnePlus has offered you with their Oxygen, OS, then you don't need to use it because it's out of your way. It's simply out of your way. It's not like, for example, when I was using the LG G6 that I had to simply change the launcher because I can't stand LG skin. That happens a lot with phones like Galaxy S8 and TouchWiz. Maybe even HTC U11 with blink feed. But with the OnePlus 5, that's not an issue. And with that being said, 6 gigabytes of RAM is phenomenal. I mean, you don't even get 6 gigabytes of RAM on laptops these days. Look at Microsoft, look at Apple and their MacBooks, things of that nature. You just 6 gigabytes of RAM. Some will say it's overkill, but honestly, I don't find it overkill. The reason why I don't find it overkill is because while I've used this phone, I've never had any issues whatsoever with how it performs. And that's how you know it's not overkill. Because a lot of phones out there still give you 4 gigabytes of RAM, but because their bloatware, because their software is so bad, you feel like 4 gigabytes of RAM isn't even enough. Because when you look at your memory usage, half of it's already being used and everything's already closed out of your phone. So guys, OnePlus 5 so far, battery life, fantastic, phenomenal speed when it comes to charging, and the software experience that is to die for. If you have any comments, any questions, let me know. Have you ever owned a OnePlus? I've owned the original OnePlus. I've owned the OnePlus 3T and now the OnePlus 5. And I've loved every single one of them. I've loved each one more and more. And it's so hard to put this phone down. That's my opinion. That's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think, however. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed, do consider doing so. I've got a big show now coming up between OnePlus 5, the HTC U11, the Galaxy S8, and the LG G6. I don't want you guys to miss that. Hopefully it's a video that you guys enjoy. So subscribe so you don't miss it, and thumbs up the video if you enjoyed it. Other than that, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Like always, peace, salute, and stay geeky. I'm out.